name is Molly Hopes. I'm here with my co-host, as usual, Tim Mercer. How you doing, Tim?
Well, doing well, Molly.
Oh, yeah,
Thank
good
you.
to hear it. Good. Our guest this evening is a business and finance master. His name is Hans Petit Homme. He's from Haiti. Hans, welcome.
Oh, thanks for having me, guys.
Thank
Yes,
you.
sir.
Thank you. Thank you.
Pleasure.
Feel comfortable, and we here to have you make our audience more enlightened.
Hello, audience.
Yeah, we want you to tell us how to make money, what's going on.
The magical is how to make money.
Take your time, Mr. Hans, and
No, but
introduce
seriously.
yourself to our audience.
You look really great, and welcome.
Thank you.
Who are you?
Thank you. Well, again, my name is Hans Petit Homme. I've been fortunate to be in the banking and finance industry for the last 15 plus years. And my primary goal every single day is to help somebody else improve their situation. You know, I try to be an expert and just guide them through the process and teaching them the fundamentals of finance. I think it's important in our industry, in our community, as well as a nation to have an understanding of what we're doing and how we're doing it and how to go about growing wealth for the next generation.
Tim likes to keep our topics focused on race in on this show, so I figured we might as well start there.
That's fair.
I've been listening to a lot of gangster rap, and I've been noticing that men who are rapping and become successful don't really use a bank. Probably usually use a bank, or at least they're talking about having double bags. So I'm wondering if you could, where you're coming, maybe say why we use banks. And when I say we, I mean,
in general. I mean, if you think about it, they have a certain image they must uphold within their industry. They're entertainers, and they have an audience of generations, different ages and groups who look to them for guidance. Well, if we think about the purpose of a bank, right, it's to hold your money in a secure location. You know, when we think about the physical cash itself, it's paper. You know, it's worthless unless it's used within a transaction. So we always encourage individuals, especially the youth, to, entertainment is entertainment, right? It's fun, it's all game, and it does what it's supposed to do, entertain. But if you have $1 saved, you can actually earn some interest on $1 by putting it in a financial institution. So we encourage individuals to use banks, understand how they work, understand the importance of it, and make it part of your daily activities.
so interest rates aren't really that great. Can we really expect to make any money having our money in a bank? Is it really even that safe? Nobody trusts the government, especially not the federal government anymore.
I mean, it's hard to say
It's a
who
stupid
trusts
question.
the government or not, but from a basic and fundamental perspective, you have to use the institution for what it is. If God forbid something happens, to your funds, you need a place to keep it. Given that the interest rates are low when it comes to the returns the banks are giving, it all depends on the individual's perspective. You have to have certain assets in place if you want to grow your funds. For most individuals, on average savings, they're not getting that much in return. But they have a security.
Minuscule.
And that's where we come in as bankers or individuals in my field, is to educate them on different opportunities that are available to help them grow their finances.
Tim, you save money?
Very little. I never had $1 I wouldn't spend. I never had $1 I wouldn't spend. But I say this to you. The importance of a bank is, first of all, to develop a relationship. When you develop a relationship with a bank, regardless of how much you are able to save yearly, monthly, or weekly, you can create a credit line as a result of just putting your money in there weekly, bi-weekly, monthly, and that's the importance of developing your relationship with a bank. I will say this here, because you got to have a relationship with banks. That's the only way you're going to ever be able to buy a house. And but I say this to you: the only person who shouldn't put their money in a bank is a hustler or a dope dealer. Anybody else who work for $1, you got to put your money in the bank. And I'm going to tell you something else. A hustler or a dope dealer don't have to put their money into a bank because they have brokers out there who won't take nobody who don't have over $500,000 to invest.
That's an interesting point.
I know
But
that
if you-
to be true.
It could be, but if you understand, you just said that they have to work. Anyone who works for their money should put their funds in the bank.
Absolutely.
Well, if you consider what a hustler or dope dealer is doing, they still working.
It might
But
be
wait,
no,
no. My rationale behind that is, don't give your money back to Uncle Sam. They're gonna take it, brother. You know that. I know that. You can't put elusive money into a bank. Come on now. Man, you got to be on that same
If
page.
we're gonna keep it on a term where you can actually report finances, then I encourage every single one who works and make $1 to save, and
Even a
invest.
hustler.
Even if that's the business that they're involved in.
You got to show paperwork on money.
Again, it goes about the business that they're involved in. Now, my goal is to educate every single one who has a business.
Can you have money in the bank and not pay taxes? Pay taxes for the
Yeah.
year? Can you
It-
just
it
put
goes
money
back
there?
to the education aspect, and my goal is to always encourage everyone, including the youth, that you have to understand how the banking system works and take advantage of why it's there to benefit you and your family. Majority of the funds in a bank,
I like you, man.
if you keep it in a thank you so much. If you keep your funds in a savings to gain back interest, by law, once you accumulate a certain amount of interest, the bank is going to send you a form to report it to the IRS upon for taxes. But if we don't educate our youth in our community on the benefit of doing that, then they'll never understand the importance of
I
it.
want to talk with you, man, because this is a civic understanding you and I got going, and I like it too, and it's a financial understanding. Now, because we right in the midst of metaphor, and we're right in the mix of coin. Now, I'm telling you now, listen to me. Listen to me. All these brothers had millions in banks. And they done gave up their condos. They done gave up their chateaus. They done gave up their townhouses. Billions, millions. You still got your same understanding on where you put your money at. I know, well, listen to what I'm saying to you. This guy, man.
Most of the money in the banks is crooked. Anyway, this country is built on crooked money.
What I'm trying to say is, I ain't got nothing to do with how crooked it is, but put it under the mattress if the government gonna take it from you.
All right.
I mean, that's understandable, but let's go back to the fundamentals on why banks were created. If we're looking at on the community aspect, and you can speak to anyone who's been in banking for quite some years, you would have a family depositing their funds in an institution,
Yeah.
and hopefully establish a long-term relationship that's going to allow them the ability to what? Go to the local bank and borrow funds. Borrow funds for what? The purpose of developing businesses?
Sowing the
Developing-
seed, farm, buying the farm goods.
Absolutely.
Sowing the seed.
That's the foundation.
Yeah, I agree.
Right? And regardless of what's going on in politics or in the institution of banking alone, the foundation still exists.
I agree.
We as a community have to understand and acknowledge the foundation and go back and develop the relationships with the bank. Because the banks
agree.
will lend.
I just want to make a point or ask a question that is about taxes, guys. Don't you think that it is important that you pay taxes? How do you think all the free services are going to even exist? They come from our money,
I agree.
right?
Yeah.
I
Why is
agree.
it such a bad thing to pay taxes? Don't we consider that, you know, what
I love
we're
paying
doing?
taxes personally.
But you know and I know that the largest majority of the taxes are paid by the poor, whether it come to a 10% sales tax. And I was out in North Carolina for a Labor Day. Sales tax 10%. I go to McDonald's, they say, I say, how much is my iced tea? They say 110. Oh, here's 106.
Right. I mean,
The sales tax is out a
sales
lot.
taxes are independent based on the district. Of the
It's a
city.
poor
Okay.
tax because we're going to pay more proportionately.
And
Poor
that is
people.
why, Tim, we must educate every single one in our community.
Businesses
to
pay
start
taxes too,
businesses.
though. Sales and use tax.
Businesses pay taxes all the time. The difference is the laws, the tax laws, are in benefit of the businesses. So if we educate our youth and our community on developing businesses within their own community, take advantage of the tax laws
I agree.
and give back and grow.
I agree.
So
I
taxes
agree.
in place, yes, individuals don't like paying
But
taxes.
you know,
it is
most
a
of the
benefit.
time, don't man. And maybe I don't know what your experience are with whom we have dealt with and connected with. Most of the time, that's to the highest degree of difficulty, paying your taxes properly.
Yes.
For
That's
small
why
business,
you go to his franchise and get him to do your taxes for you. I will not pay somebody $300 to do my taxes.
But and that's why I always encourage individuals. You always have to have a circle of trust. CPA to do your taxes, an attorney to set up your business corporations, and a network of individuals going to uplift you in your business.
and that's beautiful. I was just make a joke. I like to make a joke, but I'm not gonna make a joke because I know you're stone cold serious. I was gonna say 2 out of the 3 you was talking about shysters. That's a joke.
I
It's a
don't think
radio
all
show,
attorneys
so we
are
got to
ju-
have some fun with it. But I know you're very sincere.
Absolutely.
Can attorneys can you be an ethical attorney? A
Absolutely.
real boring one, can't you, huh?
I mean,
You asked a critical question there,
Right,
girl.
yeah.
You hear that?
elaborate. on
But
that.
okay, so let's say I want to incorporate my business, but I want to do it, in a way where there's no, well, what is this? And so I go to the attorney, and then he helps me do that.
Mhm.
How is that shyster?
That's not because you have credible attorneys. You have credible doctors that take out the wrong organ also.
I mean, what's the alternative?
I'm telling you, but in other words, that kind of law thing that you just mentioned, where you go there, you want them to do a specific. I'll say 100 percentile. Most of them are credible. You know what I'm saying? In other words, no attorney gonna not know how to set up your LLC. Matter of fact, they want to do you a favor. They say, hold that money, and I'm gonna show you how to go to your computer and do it yourself.
That's a key point, right? I mean,
True.
you can do it yourself.
Yeah.
If you go to your local state, you can do it yourself.
Yeah,
Set
yeah.
up your own corporation.
So, in other words, no, I ain't talking about shysters on that law. I'm talking about the attorneys like our United States Mayor, Giuliani. He's a shyster.
That's true.
Giuliani.
I guess
He's a shyster.
you don't like him, huh?
I have no reason to. In other
That's
words,
really good points.
Go ahead, good brother, elaborate. I'm the banking and how to create wealth. I'm talking about outside of just saving, I don't know how much, a third, 25%, 10% of your paycheck every week. Give me something from bottom up. Let's talk with a brother who's bringing home just enough money over to pay his rent and his electric bill, but he ought to be saving something.
Yeah.
Everybody ought to be saving something.
One thing I encourage individuals to do is read. Right? We live in a society that is very digital. We have access to a lot of information. I encourage individuals to read.
And even if you go on the internet or go on the telephone and get it, read.
Correct.
Articles and pure articles, etc., etc.
Absolutely. And it goes back to, again, that foundation I like to speak about. Right? If you know what your take home is every 2 weeks or every week, and you obviously know what your expenses are at the end of the month. Well, if you're in a situation where you find that your expenses are more than your take home, common sense will tell you to what?
You got to get a part-time job.
Absolutely. Or you got to lower your expenses some way or somehow. Right? So
And that's easier said than done.
it is, but then that's where the education comes in. And if we read, we get the right information that is credible, then we can start to lay a foundation for us to be successful and create wealth.
And I'm going to tell you something, bro. This is one of the reasons when I ran in for the Maryland state legislature, wanting to be one, hopefully. My premise was $15 minimum wage. And I said it to say, you got to have enough money to pay your rent to save something. In other words, if you aren't bringing home enough money to pay rent or to parlay, because no one income these days sustain a house. Basically, you got to have your girlfriend and maybe somebody else pulling in. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
To sustain a house. This is why it's so important that we understand that a minimum wage is important. But secondly, we got to understand that when we are spending we got Arlington Elementary being rebuilt, $40-60 million. We got Pimlico Elementary being rebuilt, $46 million. We just had Forest Park rebuilt, $60 million. We got, I know a couple more. We got 4 or 5 schools in our neighborhood being rebuilt, and nobody in my neighborhood is working on them. I haven't seen one black man in my community with a job at over $300 million worth of projects. So the first thing we got to do is start making ourselves more employable, more entrepreneurable, or more mentor, mentor.
Maybe they don't want those jobs, Tim.
Can I say something to you? I'm gonna tell you like my daddy told me a long time ago. Motor oil's motor oil. Job's a job.
Yeah, but if you have to drug test or whatever it is, and it
can I say something to you? You just said a good thing. See, a lot of them might not pass the drug test scrutiny, and that's fair. But the bottom line is that's something you can prepare yourself for, especially if you're craving that job.
Again, it's access to information. If they don't know the job is coming in their community, how will they apply for it?
Well, people do have to be empowered.
I want to say something to you.
To get this.
No, I want to say this to you because it should be incumbent on our political leaders to see to it that minority participation is proportionately, and when they got that kind of money coming out of the community, they see to it that somebody in our community is employed.
Absolutely.
Period. In other words, we can't leave it to a son of a gun who can't clean himself up to know how to go to the CEOs of these companies. That's got to be qualified through the government who's giving up these, because these guys ain't financing nothing. The government paying these $40-60 million contracts through the state government.
They could advertise through community centers in the area.
Yeah, but that's when the okie doke come in and where they come to urban centers and say they're going to employ people, and they don't.
Right.
All you got to do is ride past the job. And I'm going to tell you why I say that, because observation and practice participation has the highest degree of validity, truth. And if you ride past the job and you don't see yourself, then that's got a high degree of validity.
Well, change has got to start somewhere. So where are you saying that it starts again? Hans?
Again, I personally think that the changes has to start within our community itself.
Yeah.
But I think we rely too much on the government or the state officials to make a change for us.
Can I say something to you? And we're supposed to, because we elect these sons of Jesus to represent us and to carry the torch. We're supposed to hold them at the highest degree of accountability.
You're absolutely right. And if they don't meet our expectations,
then we're supposed to call them for it. Say, this is not what the heck I'm supposed to say. But I'm going to tell you something. Give it to you. I'm giving it to you. What's the difference? You don't got to give it to you. What's the difference between sensation and perception? I'm going to give it to you. A sensation is a message received. Malcolm X said, if you get slapped across the face, you slap them back. Martin Luther King said, you get slapped, you turn the other cheek. Same tactile sensation, different perception, meaning given to the message. A perception is the message received, okay? And the message received is the meaning you give it to it, Same tactile, slap, different perception, different meaning given to it. We got to have somebody who put the right meaning to what's happening to us. That way, the sensation might be perceived the right way. Same sensation, tactile, perception, different meaning given to the same sensation.
All right, I'm going to change the topic real quick. We're doing the same topic. So I think that savings is one way that change that maybe we could isolate something that's going on here. Mm-hmm. If you give me $1,000 and I live in Tim's neighborhood, I'm probably not going to save any of it. I'm probably going to spend it. What would make me save it?
I like you.
What would make you save?
How can you compel me to save my money if I don't have any dreams that I need to save up for?
I guess you can take that
Let
on an individual basis.
let me help you out with
Yeah,
this.
help me out with that one, Zed.
Vacation. Vacation first. Because you ought to want to take one vacation a year, if not 2 a year, one every 6 months, if not one every quarter, like I try to do.
But let's say they don't take a vacation.
Okay, then you want to save for that rainy day, they call it. The rainy day?
The rainy day.
Yeah, that's what they experience in
Why
North
not
Carolina
save
now.
for a sunny day, man? Save for a sunny day too. But I mean, if you think about it,
The sunny day is the
sunny
vacation.
days. But Molly, to answer your question, it goes back to the individual, right? You gotta have a desire for something. If it's not, there's a famous quote that says like something has to be bigger in it than yourself, right? Whether it's family, whether it's a childhood vision or dream that you had, you have to find something within you that's bigger than your current situation. Your current situation is only your current situation. If a second goes by, you should be moving forward regardless of what it is. So if you're looking to save, find something that you want and you desire for to give you the jump start you need to start a savings plan. And it's going to entail you making certain sacrifices. Maybe instead of taking the Uber home, you decide to walk or skip a cup of latte. There's a famous saying that's the latte effect. At your favorite Starbucks and just save that $2-3 a day. It adds up. There's ways to save. You just gotta be reluctant to,
You can never rob your savings account if you never saved. You gotta always have somewhere to go get something. You can't rob that account if you haven't created it. You gotta have somewhere to go rob. What do you think?
Yeah, I think it's you gotta have.
I mean, like if you got a little nest egg somewhere, then that's a nest egg.
But if you find a goal that you want to save towards, make that your goal and save something towards it every single day. It's going to be very difficult to implement an immediate savings plan unless you have specific goals in place. So if you want to save $1,000 a year, break it down into 12 monthly increments. And then break it down further into weekly and daily increments to help you develop a systematic lifestyle to save.
And you think everybody has the capacity to actually do that and instantiate that in
Absolutely.
their lives?
I think every single individual, regardless of education, income, has the ability to save. They just need direction.
And to get started.
Yeah.
You can't finish nothing you don't initiate.
True story.
You got to get started, And when you ask me, do I save anything? I save what I want to spend. That's all I save, And that's the way I'm going. I'm where I'm at in life right now. But all I'm doing is saving what I want to spend.
Yeah. Give you a perfect example. One, it's not a secret. One beautiful way to save, if you think about it, is, if you have decent enough credit, instead of using your bank card or your ATM debit card every single day, apply for a cash rewards credit card. You get 1 to 2, maybe 3% of the bank's money.
Better than that, yeah.
As long as you pay it off every single month, right? You're getting back 2 to 3%.
Yeah.
Doing the same activities you do on a daily basis, but you have to be disciplined when that bill comes at the end of the month to pay it back.
Excellent.
So if you don't have any savings outside of the norm, use the bank's credit card to save.
Yeah, I concur.
It's a simple tip that everyone can use with decent enough credit.
Where are you located, sir? Could you elaborate for our audience so they know how to touch bases with you?
My clients span throughout Baltimore City and DC Metro. I'm just a phone call away. I love to meet business owners who have an understanding of who needs guidance when it comes to their businesses, growing their businesses.
They need to hear.
And I've also been helping a lot of individuals in their personal credit understand the importance of credit, how to use it, how to remove certain things on the credit and make that part of their wealth process.
We really appreciate you taking time to enlighten us on some of the things that you have been able to enlighten us on. Maybe you can come on again and give us some more detailed suggestions for what people can do.
I would
Okay.
love to. I appreciate it.
You leave your number with the people? Or anything?
Sure, you can always reach me at 443-583-4002. If I don't pick up, send a text. I will definitely try to get back to as many as I can.
Hey, this is an opportunity to step yourself up, step your businesses up, and communicate with an individual who brings a lot to the table along the lines of connectiveness. Thank you very much.
Thank you.